Out California today when officers responded to a huge gathering there. Protesters were taking to the streets demonstrating against federal immigration operations. Several arrests were made. And in the last hour, we've learned that President Trump has signed a memorandum to send in the National Guard. We're going to get a closer look at the protests going on the West Coast in a moment. But first, it wasn't just L.A. Here in New York, a standoff between police and protesters at Federal Plaza, demonstrating ICE arresting migrants. We're doing routine check-ins with immigration officers there. News 4's Gabby Acevedo was in Lower Manhattan when it all went down.
Some tense moments outside of a federal building in Lower Manhattan. Protesters preventing a white van from trying to exit 26 Federal Plaza. Pro-migrant activists say they received a tip from families seeking asylum who say they were placed under arrest after showing up for their immigration appointments this morning and were allegedly being transported to a detention center.
People are here today because these are our neighbors. I mean, it's a catch-22. These people are following the law. They are going to their hearings. They're going to their checkups.
Agents wearing federal gear coming face-to-face with dozens of people who forced their white van to eventually pull back into the building's garage. Then moments later, an NYPD contingent arrived. Officers pushing protesters back to the other side of the street. We saw at least half a dozen people taken into custody.
We're seeing the NYPD here. And NYPD is not supposed to collaborate with ICE. What they're doing here today, they are collaborating with ICE.
This comes after yet another New York City asylum-seeking high school student from Queens was detained after showing up for a routine immigration appointment. The 11th grader from Ridgewood was taken into custody on Wednesday and at this point has not been released.
He was a model student from what the principal and his teachers are saying, and it's just an absolutely sickening situation.
Roughly 2 weeks ago, a 20-year-old high school student in the Bronx, Dylan Lopez Contreras, was arrested after an immigration court hearing. Dylan was in the U.S. on temporary protected status applied to Venezuelans under the Biden administration and is now at a processing center in Pennsylvania. DHS says Contreras has been placed in expedited removal out of the country.
This federal government is now crossing the line.
Gabby Acevedo, News 4, New York.
And tonight on social media, the Department of Homeland Security put out a statement calling the protesters, quote, rioters. DHS confirms immigration enforcement operations were underway, but does not elaborate. It says the NYPD made at least 5 arrests and offers this warning from Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, quote, you will not stop or slow us down. ICE will continue to enforce the